Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Out kind of late last night, and you can hear it. Good morning. It is Wednesday, January 10th, 2024. It is We Need to Know Wednesday of Civic Engagement Week here in the Java Cafe. It has definitely been, it is, and is going to continue to be a Civic Engagement Week through this evening. We started Monday with Counselor Laura. We had Counselor Anderson yesterday, and I just want to pause and thank everybody that reached out and expressed the sensitivity to Counselor Anderson yesterday. It was a very raw, real, and got a little emotional interview, but we appreciate the fact that she was willing to come in and be transparent around what it is that she's dealing with while advocating and fighting for us. So we thank Counselor Anderson for coming in. Last night, we attended the mayor's State of the City address, which was it's kind of lit. Look at a lot of the accomplishments. Yes, there were, as Real described to me, the Gaza advocates were there, and the mayor handled it very well. That's democracy in action. And also, I don't know if you heard through the microphone, but Ro was like, keep going. I was all the way in the back. I decided not to sit with the commission. You've been to those. And yesterday, I wasn't in the mood. So I just stood in the back during the whole speech. I was supposed to sit in that area. And I kept saying to folks, I'm like, yo, if I was up there, that democracy, absolutely. But Boston doesn't have a whole, in my humble opinion, a whole lot of influence around the decision to push Mr. President to cease fire. So it was overall definitely a good event. I also want to thank everybody that came out to Estella's last night. We had a great event. A lot of people came after the State of the City, and at first it was like 3 or 4 people, and then we ended up with about like 35 people there. So thank all of you that came through to support that Black-owned business. Shout out to Estella's, who was voted the number 5 of the top 5 bars in Boston, from Top Boston, a online magazine that rates bars and restaurants and whatnot. So shout out to Brother Georgie, Brother Helder, as some call him, at Estella's for that award. We are waiting for our counselor to come in just a couple of moments. Let's go in and see who's in the Java Cafe while we are waiting on her. Let me do the same thing I did yesterday. Just double check and make sure folks got all the stuff that they need to get in here this morning. Hold on. I'm going to go say hello to folks in just a second. Okay. All right. I got that all set. Let's go in. Pastor Marion, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. Pastor Marion says the mayor's speech last night was absolutely on target. Thank you, Mayor Wu. Donna, good morning, Miss Janky of the Java. Janky Java. That's going to be Donna's nickname in the Java Cafe. Janky Java. Opal, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Nicole, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Pam, good morning to you. Good to see you. Pam, I seen the sister last night that was the co-MC with you at the event. I told her I would follow up with you for sure, and you know what I'm talking about. Yairos, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Mama Java, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Rochelle, what's up, sweetie? Good to see you in the room this morning. Sharon Cornelius, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Erin, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Happy hump day to you too. Also, Sister Debbie, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Heidi, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Heidi, congratulations on Heidi starting a podcast, everybody. So keep an eye out for that. I saw that yesterday. Cookie, good morning. Good to see you in the room. My son Joa is listening with me. Wants to hear Joa. Oh God, Pam. What's up, brother? What? Pam gets it, bro. Your mother is she's cool. She's a little lit, actually. Your mom's got it going on. She's doing some things in the city, bro. And shout out to you for sporting. I got to see you at the event and shake your hand for supporting Java with Jimmy with your Java with Jimmy hoodie. Good to see you in the why you ain't in school today? I'm messing. Pam is definitely cool enough, please. And hopefully we prove that this morning. Is Pam cool enough, y'all? Joe, that's what I thought. Okay. If y'all know Pam, let her baby boy see it in the comments. All right. Dina, my sister came out last night, had a good time. Added to it. Last night's atmosphere was just amazing. City workers, city residents, and folks just came out and ate. Shout out to brother Chris Worrell. His birthday was yesterday. And thanks to him, a lot of us went home with some free Rasta pasta. We had to get the pasta, take a picture, tag him and Estella's, and we did it. And it was quite good. But it was definitely a dope event in there yesterday. All right, I think I'm caught up with all the comments. Let me just double check here. Hold on, y'all. We're gonna start giving folks just a little bit earlier time. Okay. I wanted to remind folks that tomorrow we actually have a double header. Nick. Hi, Nichelle. What's going on, Nichelle? Good to see you in the room, Nichelle. That's my sister there, everybody. She just brings that. And she sings too. No pun intended. But good to see you in the room. Says Heidi is saying, Pamela, I met someone with the same spelling and it is pronounced Shoa? Oh, Joa. Wow. Okay. Let me practice now before our counselor gets here. Louijeune, as Counselor Anderson told us yesterday. Got a few hits about that too. About me in real time, trying to make sure I do everything right. It is important that we pronounce people's folks' names correctly. Mine is very simple. It's James Hills. And I'm side-eyeing people often that have known me for 30 years. And it's only one hill. No, bruh, sis. There are multiple hills here. But it is definitely important in all seriousness. Nichelle is saying, oh, I love you, brother. And I'm so I should have read that comment before I posted it. But Nichelle, proud of you too. She's a professor at Berklee College of Music, recording artist. She tours the world and sings all that stuff. We got some here come Mama Java to make sure y'all know. Hills with an S. Absolutely. Got to see Joseph Bennett last night from the Bennett family, obviously. He was there. And a couple of other folks were there. Got to see Keys. Keys was in the building at Estella's. Obi came out. I'm just looking at some of the pictures. Obi came out. For those of you that are part of the Voices of Embrace choir, let me show you guys what one of our Sopranos did last night. I heard the name. I said, wait a minute. That's one of my choir members. All right, it worked yesterday. Y'all pray that it works today, Jesus. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can zoom in for y'all. Oh, come on. All right, there we go. There we go. All right. Here is Miss Lenny D'Souza, Director of Human Resources. And hold on. Sister Debbie, hold on. Let me get this here. What am I doing wrong? All right, there we go. I don't know why it's not doing what it should do. Okay. I guess we're good. All right, we're going to try this again. We're going to try this again because I need you all to hear. Miss Lenny, where did it go? Okay, there we go. All right, I got it. I'm going to see someone next week about an upgrade. They was like, hey, we see what you're doing. No promises, but they're going to try to help out. Here goes Miss Lenny D'Souza. Okay, there we go.
The bombs bursting gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, Satan's that star-spangled banner yet for the land. And
Lenny, we're proud of you. She killed it last night. Killed it. And Mayor's dress. I think her dress was, where's that at? I think it was purple. That is her campaign color. Purple. So I think it was purple. I was hoping, y'all know what color I hope she wore. The red dress from the night that she won. Or, different red dress. But she did wear the purple dress. Lenny definitely was incredible, Michelle. And Pam is letting us know. Let's learn some linguistics about names this morning. Yes, Joa is a Portuguese name. It means John in English or Juan in Spanish. We pronounce it Joa in Chile. And so Heidi, I never saw that spelling before. That is it. I like that. Rather than regular old James. I love you, Ma. Our counselor says that she's coming in. The counselor's not due until 9:30, not 9 o'clock. Okay. All right. The counselor's coming in at 9:30 in just a few minutes. So y'all got to deal with me for just a few more minutes. Anthony is in the building. Good morning, brother. For those of you that did watch the State of the City, Pastor Marion shared her thoughts. What are your thoughts about the state of the city? What are your thoughts about the advocates who are calling for a ceasefire? They were at the Emmanuel Church and protested when Joe Biden was speaking in that church where a lot of Black folks were killed. They were at the State of the City last night in other spaces as well. So curious to what your thoughts are about the state of the city and also the advocacy for ceasefire in interesting spaces. Definitely disrupting, as the mayor said, that's democracy in practice. Just curious to what your thoughts are in community. And for those of you that watched her State of the City, let me back up a little bit. My favorite part was, and I kind of, if you watched at the end, Michelle deviated and said, hey, I want to tell you one last story. It's about a mom, and they used to go down because mom, I'm paraphrasing, mom couldn't afford to, take her child to, different places. She was an immigrant. And in this pink stroller, her mom would roll her down to the museum to just take in the art and culture. And she talked about in that story how that experience had an impact on this little girl named Mimi. Had to be there. And so when Michelle said Mimi, I said, oh, this is about to go somewhere. Yo, when I tell you Michelle illustrated that thing like a Pentecostal Baptist preacher, all to say that if you didn't hear, I don't know if it begins this Sunday because it's the second Sunday, but every first and second Sunday, every Boston Public School student and parent will be able to go to the Museum of Fine Arts, the Institute of Contemporary Art, of course, the Children's Museum, and the Museum of Science for free. Free. So these young people, when y'all want something to do with your young people on Sundays, they can go to the museums for free. You as parents can go to the museums for free. I'm sure the details will be on the city's website. But that's major. That is major. You don't know what little kid outside of their school trip will go to a museum, see something and get inspired and say, hey, I want to do that. That's very significant. Very significant. Anthony is saying that story led into announcing the groundbreaking program, just the tear jerking. Listen, everybody at one point in there, the sentiment in the room was the realization that Michelle was Mimi in the pink stroller with her mother. The correlation of that personal attachment to her announcement. So it was a roller coaster of emotions for about, I'll say it was 4 emotions over 2 seconds. Like everybody was like, oh, that was beautiful. So it was definitely awesome. Michael, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Bless. That is wonderful, wonderful. Opening up on art and imagination. The other piece is Counselor Anderson shared the information about the artery that's coming to Roxbury. I actually ran into a young king last night and was like, hey, I'm going I submitted young, good, artistic brother I've seen in community for years, Brother Sean. And so shout out to what Michael's point about the art piece. Art, science, STEM. I think some people are saying STEAM now. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Y'all get me later. Sister Debbie said, I got teary too. It was definitely so. Let me tell you all something that y'all know that electeds and politicians have speechwriters. I ran in to the mayor's speechwriter last night. He was like, hey, Jimmy, what's up? I was like, hey, man, I knew he looked familiar. I looked at him again and I said, oh, I just grabbed him and hugged him. So in this city, this is Civic Engagement Week. There are 2 major speeches, sometimes 3, depending on the administration, but definitely 2 major speeches that mayors focus on in this city. The first one is, of course, the state of the city. The second one is their address to the Chamber of Commerce. On the 5th floor, they're called State of the City and then Commerce speech. Politicians, a lot of times, don't have the time to actually sit down and write an entire dissertation speech. And so they do have people that help with that's public knowledge. People know that. And so, of course, the elected, the final person pays off and they signs off and makes all their corrections and maybe go off the cuff a couple of times like the mayor had to last night. But shout out to that team, to the communications team. Shout out to, I know it's a different name now, but I'm old. I call it sports, special events, sports and tourism. Brother Matt Borders. So many of the city staff were working last night, and shout out to a lot of chiefs. A lot of chiefs were ushering last night. Not sitting, not up front. They were actually pulling people into seats. department heads, division heads were pulling people into seats and ushering. So it was definitely a good time to see people in service. Don't get me wrong. I think it was a great overall state of the city. Now, what did I miss up top? Oh, hold on, Pam. Speech writers did a good job. Pam, I didn't even see your. We're in sync. I didn't even see your comment. Speech writers did a good job. Her delivering time could be a little bit better. There was a lot of awkward pauses. However, it was refreshing to see her raw emotions. The story was so cute, though I don't think many realized she was talking about herself. Pam, I didn't even see your comment and was saying the same thing. Here we are. So the pauses there. So I've been a part of speech prep, and the speech writers and the deliverer often are hopeful and believe that it's certain parts of the speech people are going to be like, oh. So sometimes, generally speaking, in practice, they may tell the person delivering the speech, don't rush through, pause and let it marinate. I was standing near some folks that I knew what was coming in the speech. And you saw when they thought there was going to be the applause and it wasn't, and they were like, woo! And so, I mean, it just comes, Pam, I'm not messing with you. And so, but that happens. That happens often. And so it's Civic Engagement Week, y'all. We're going behind the scenes. State of the City 101. Nah, I'm messing. But those are two of the major speeches that mayors in this city make. State of the City and also to the Chamber of Commerce. And there was another one that you could always tell when Mayor Menino was like, but and all of them. I don't know about Marty. Kim didn't do one. We got to see Mayor Janey last night. That's very active and ensuring that he who used to occupy the White House doesn't get on the ballot here in Massachusetts. That is a time of like reunion for past administrations, people that are still there, new people and things like that. So it definitely was awesome to see so many people in the room. Nichelle is saying, honey, and I exclaimed, wow, at the same time. This is great for everyone. Nichelle is someone and like others that understand the impact of the hey, look who's in the room this morning. Mayor Wu's amazing orator. Her heart shines through her delivery. Miss Teresa, good to see you in the room. The I don't know, she just hasn't been feeling well. We haven't been able to see her in the room. Good to see you in the room, Miss Teresa. Hold on. Y'all know we do things in real time. I literally was getting ready to say something smart, and my coffee said, nope. Miss Teresa, I love you, and we'll leave that right there. For those of you that are tuning in on Twitter and Instagram, Councilor Ruthzee Louijeune will be in with us in just a few moments, but I'm curious to hear. Pam gave her thoughts about the speech. Heidi, I believe I want to go back. Heidi had gave her thoughts about we were talking about my name. My mother reminded me I was named after my grandfather. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so interesting when your mom is in the room. 50 years old. I do not care. 52. I'm still but Heidi is saying I agree, but wrong place. And so there's a lot of thought. There was a lot of chatter last night about that. Yeah, y'all pray for me. Counselor Louijeune is on her way in. I see her popping up in the background. Probably getting ready to get the camera on, and we will be good in just a couple of seconds. We got to see her captured last night sitting there. The mayor acknowledged her. The governor was there as well. The governor is funny. She was talking to someone. Jimmy stepped out in the middle of the convo, and they were looking around like, she really enjoyed the interview that we did around the art installation in her office. And so it was definitely, the other piece that was interesting. So when the protests happened, the police had to respond or whatever. And Commissioner Cox got up. Now, at the State of the City, the command staff, all of them flanked in all of their regalia. Their as one of the deacons used to call it in our church, Heidi, their glorious apparel. Heidi, I know you busted out laughing. When the commissioner got up, yo, just I appreciate watching stuff like that. When the commissioner got up, yo, the command staff was like, shoot, boom, boom, and followed him out. It was interesting. I'm into all that stuff, order and all that other stuff. A counselor, I can see her screen. Hold on. Just 1 second. Okay. We do this TI support. It's technical IT support. We do this IT support in real time. Anthony is saying, it warmed my heart to see our new city council president sitting next to the governor in conversation last. And that's what I'm talking about, Anthony. Like when I saw them flash across, I was like, yo, that's kind of dope. And, you know, they knew each other before, but need to have Governor Haley back to discuss budget cuts. So let me clarify a little bit about these budget cuts. So when the media first put it out, because I saw them and I was alarmed by the byline. My understanding and my level of awareness is at this. A lot of high level initiatives from the state aren't being funded either more or maybe a little bit below level funding. Level funding means keeping it the same past few years, past few budget cycles. I was on a call yesterday. There's something called a 9C list. That list did have some I actually have the list, I think. Hold on. I don't know if it went to the whole group, but we're still doing tech support. And there are some nonprofits and some programs. But there we go. We just got Counselor, we just look, we're texting. All right, there we go. I love our counselor. She is so real. Listen, we'll get back to that in a minute because I know she has a lot to do. So we're going to bring in, as promised, in November. And I want to say that I was the one, first of all, counselor, I messed up on, I told you, we invited you for this week because I thought they was going to have the inauguration on Monday. I didn't know. So by charter, you do have to do it on the first Monday. But for some reason, Menino or someone tried 1 year when it felt like that to move it. So I just knew it was this Monday. So forgive me for last week and forgive me.
Yeah, I was actually surprised when your request came in. I was like, oh, he wants to wait a week? Fine. You know what I mean? I was like, okay.
You know me. I was like, my intent was to have you on Tuesday morning. And also forgive me for this morning. I thought it was 9 o'clock instead of 9:30. So they've had to endure me stalling for the past half an hour.
Yeah, I was like checking in with Hoda. I was like, we said 9:30, right?
No, you're good. It's on us. It's on us. But
Okay.
Ruth, I'm sorry. So, counselor, first of all, something happened yesterday, and I got checked. Even when we were at low key, doing that impromptu interview, I was rushing, and I think I mispronounced your name. And ever since then, shout out to Erin Davis. She's brought it to my attention that I need to say it correctly. So, Counselor Anderson yesterday told me that you like the beginning to say like Louis, as in Vuitton.
Yes.
Louijeune.
Oh, I'm glad she taught you. Yep, it's exactly like that. Louis and your friend Jen. Louijeune. Yeah. Because I know it's different. It's like a lot of vowels for people like, okay, how does this go? But break it down and then people feel confident. They feel okay saying it. You know?
And that's the thing. And we can go into that either now or later, that there is a lot of significance and importance in pronouncing people's names correctly. That really is. And we can talk about that later. But I have to back up and ask you, as I often do, the mayor, the governor, everybody else, how are you doing, counselor? It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit yesterday with Counselor Anderson about just a lot of the things that go on in the background, your ability to ascend to the presidency. Any pundits and stuff know that how that happens and stuff goes on. And so I have to ask you, with all due respect, as Ruthzee, how you doing?
That's a really good question, Jimmy. I'm hoping that this week there's a bit of time this week where I could like have for me, but it's been nonstop. And I think, leadership is such an honor to be able to be in this position, to be able to lead, to try to bring the body together. It is such an honor. And there are personal challenges involved with that, sort of like finding the time to carve out for yourself, to check in with yourself. Like this morning, I didn't give myself the time that I usually give myself for self-reflection, for biblical reading, for centering myself, either even listening to gospel. And I can feel that today. I can feel that I didn't start off. I have a brother actually who started texting me a Bible verse every morning. And I actually I love that. So shout out to him because he centers me, because I'm always reading my text messages. So I'm gonna read the text message that pops up. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I care deeply about everything that I do. I don't come at a half prepared. No, I just try to put my full self in it. And it takes a lot out of you because I want to do this job and I want to do it well. And so I'm hoping that I find more of a balance. But I'm just excited still at the opportunity to lead this body. Tonight we're celebrating with all of my colleagues and community. This new presidency, first Haitian American, third Black woman to lead the city council.
Hold on.
Energy. Was that a pow? If so, I didn't hear it.
No, that's shoot. That is the hand clapping. So tell me, all right, we'll fix that later. But we just had to applaud that because that also happened on Haitian Independence Day.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing. And like, I'm gonna be real. Like, I knew it was Haitian Independence Day, and I actually knew it was Inauguration Day and the day that we voted for the presidency. But because there's so much, you got to make sure that all turns out you're just focused on that. Like thinking about what the two meant together, I didn't really internalize until like later in the day.
When it hit in the moment when that hits you, counselor, what was that feeling like? Where were you? What happened?
It was feeling like a deeply overwhelmed, deeply like the fact that I get to represent something. Like, you look at yourself and then I look at I'm a regular person just trying to pay my bills, trying to figure it all out, get to places on time and do the work. But the fact that I can represent something, that I can be a symbol of something, even now I get teary-eyed, is powerful. It's powerful. Yes. So I'm not going to deny that. And I'm not going to deny myself that is powerful. Even if nothing more than as a symbol, right? And symbols are powerful. So I'm grateful.
I want to, what I do is I address some things in the beginning and then we end on good notes. And I wanted to ask you, counselor, you are politically astute. You're aware of current events. There is a lot going on intentionally around women, Black and brown women, who are leading. When you talk about pulling things together and managing and balance, one, as a younger but little brother, I say younger but little because you be doing all this stuff up here, and so as an older little brother, I want to encourage you, don't let another day where you can skip the centering, because if not ever before, now definitely need to keep that centering to hold you in place. Can you talk to a lot of what's going on in the media? I had Counselor Laura on Monday. I had Counselor Tanya Anderson on yesterday. You're aware of what's been going on, either the oath prior to with both of them. I'm not sure if you have been victim of a lot of, probably so, and even maybe now, a lot of attacks in media, and in your DMs and to the office. How do you speak to and it's so interesting having to use this word with you all as women, the rigor extra that's needed in this space? How do you, counselor, deal with that and fortify yourself?
That's a heavy question. I oftentimes lead myself to just reminding myself that God will not bring me to a place where he didn't see me put to be there. Yes, and so at the end, when things are really hard, to remind me that God didn't bring me here to leave me alone, that God didn't leave me here to be on my own. we talked about last week and about how I was a symbol and am a symbol. And the very next day, Claudine Gay resigned from her presidency at Harvard
Yes.
as the first woman of color, the first Black woman, the first Haitian American.
And there was a lot of social media about the roller coaster. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm shut up. Go ahead.
And so there was, and there was deep sadness in how hard it is and how difficult it is for a Black woman with a vision, a Black woman rooted in ideas of equity, how hard it is to lead, because we haven't even scratched the surface of equity. We haven't even scratched the surface of the healing and the reconciling that we need, and we're being taken out. And so it's interesting. It was heavy. It was not the juxtaposition that I wanted. As a Black woman, as a daughter of Haitian immigrants like Claudine Gay, as a Harvard graduate, as someone who participated in her inauguration ceremony, as someone, you talk about symbols, what she meant to me and what she meant to and means to the Haitian community, because I'm not taking that away from her. She was president, and I believe I don't know when her last date is or if it's already transitioned, but that means a lot. And so what I often find myself saying in interviews, and it's really interesting because I remember the first speech I gave, I think as an elected city councilor, when I was first elected 2 years ago, was actually at Harvard during Black History Month for their undergrads. And as someone who went to Harvard and as a Black woman who holds myself to really high standards and like excellence, I don't believe in the twice as good theory, but I understand how sometimes people feel it because we are, cameras are on us and it feels like people are just trying to take us down, and there's a lot of people who don't want the march towards equity, the march towards DEI, which is really about normalizing our society to make it look like what we experience every day. And I talked to those Harvard students about attempt being legacy, because so many times we can get caught up, especially as the systems are there's so many structural barriers that still prevent us from, I was one of 4 Black people in my section of 80 students at Harvard Law School, right? We are still, again, just scratching the surface, but for so many, that is even too much. And I think about, we talk so often about the first who made it, right? The first city council president and Andrea Campbell, the first Black woman on the city council, Ayanna Pressley, the yet to be first Black woman president of the United States. And I think about how attempt is legacy. In my office, I have a picture of Shirley Chisholm.
Yes.
Umbot and Umboss. And it is important to remind ourselves that even in the attempt, there is legacy. Because for Black people and for people of color who have been historically excluded, who have been marginalized, we need to honor that. We need to honor how people have attempted and tried and have been shot down and haven't succeeded in the way that we understand success, but are still successful and have chipped away at something nonetheless. I think about Rebecca Crumpler, who's the first certified doctor in the United States, who's buried at a cemetery in Hyde Park, Fairview Cemetery. But she's a first certified doctor by a U.S. institution. But how many Black women before her were doctors and were healers and were just doing that work, even if they weren't recognized as such? So there is legacy in Claudine's 6 months at Harvard. There is legacy in that attempt.
I wanted to ask you to speak to it, and you wound up going into my next question about just this. You touched on it a little bit. There is an intentionality from CRT, DEI. Chris Rufo, whatever, wrote his little article in Wall Street Journal, laid out how they did their plan. And it just is so important that, and Counselor Anderson raised this, what do you need from us as a community? And maybe in that point, what is your quote unquote platform? What is something or a few things that you would like to get accomplished as a city council president?
Yes. So, important to me as someone who's leading this body is for people to feel like, our doors are open. And we literally have 2 doors here at the president's office. And as much as we can, we're going to keep both doors open so we can be welcoming and inviting to everybody. People are walking by like, wow, that door's open. Yes, because this is a people's hall. This is for everybody. So I want, to make sure that everyone feels welcome here, both my colleagues and members of the public. I think by virtue of who I am and my identity, I think I care and center deeply communities that have been forgotten and have been historically excluded. And I want to continue doing that. We know the mayor talked about it yesterday. We have a housing crisis. We are seeing a declining Black population in the city of Boston, and that is in part because of how costly it is to live here. So it's really all hands on deck to making that more affordable. And it's not one thing. So I can lay out several policy agendas that are going to make that happen. And then our schools. I'm a product of our Boston public schools, from the Taylor, Mattapan, McCormick, and Dorchester Boston Latin School. And so we need to make sure that we are like letting our kids fly. Right, we are all celebrating Ayo Adebayo over at the Golden Globe. Right, that's a Boston public school grad. Limitless potential. All of our kids. Really, we got to believe that, regardless of if they live in Mattapan, if they grew up in a single father household, regardless if they live in East Boston and are undocumented, if they are in Charlestown, if they're in Mission Hill, that their potential is limitless. And sometimes we are letting people fall. We are letting some of our students fall, and we have to do a better job of bringing all of our schools up to that standard of excellence and rigor.
I want to just name one thing that really stood out to me as a Black man who is not biologically a dad, but often we hear single mothers. And I just have to name and thank you, counselor, because you chose to say single fathers. And I think that's a population that is just in the last 2 weeks. I have been navigating via text, trying to get resources for someone. Now, this is in Lowell, but, trying to get some resources for a friend's friend around supporting dads. And so that really just resonated and stood out with me. Something small like that is a great example of where your lens is. And so please keep that on the radar, because a lot of our single dads don't have a lot of support. So thank you so much for naming that. One of the things I keep hearing you say is leading this body. I know you're a woman of faith. It sounds a little pastoral. With the body is interesting.
Yes.
So how do you manage interesting group dynamics? Is that a good way to frame it?
Oh, that's an excellent way to frame it. I am learning. I guess it's Wednesday, so I've been in this job for 10 days now. And I think, again, part of it is just like having the doors open, listening to everybody. I sort of have a rubric, right, with centered in equity, and also how can I make people content or happy? And that sometimes that's going to mean like I'm not going to make everybody 100% happy, right? But my goal is not to make nobody 0% happy. So how do we find ways to make people feel like they're valued and seen? How do we ensure that people feel like they can tell that their constituents that, we're working together as a city, and we have a good relationship? The thing is that we are 13 elected officials with 13 strong personalities, 13 different viewpoints, and our bosses are y'all, are the voters, are the residents of the city of Boston. We are accountable to you. You all are the ones who can tell us what to do, we can converse with and decide how to move. But I think that my colleagues understand that the people of Boston want to also see us doing the work, not on the drama, laser focus on the work, even if there are disagreements in what community safety means, or what the right approach to progress is. Or I think what is often the conversation actually is the pace of progress, right? Oftentimes we find ourselves in the conversation about the pace of progress and the realization that bureaucracy can often mean that we want to be transformative, and sometimes transformation comes in incremental changes that you have to make, right? And so I think that a lot of my colleagues understand that our residents and our voters, our bosses, want to see us working together on issues, want to see us solving problems, want to see us disagreeing, and sometimes disagreeing with vigor and like with heat and with passion, but that we can still like go out and get lunch or grab a drink. Like, we had trainings yesterday on the city council, and we took a break and some of us went and sat down for lunch, right? Today, we're having a lunch at noon with the former city council clerk, city council president, former city councilor, going to just talk to us about doing the work of a city councilor and how we can do that together. Sometimes difficult relationships between district councilors and at-large councilors. How do we, realize that we're doing the work together, and it's not like I'm doing this and I win. Like, I care, what I care deeply about and what I try to demonstrate is that I can do well, I can succeed, I can thrive without taking anybody else down. That my competition is myself,
Mm.
that I can big you up and I can want to see you thrive and want to bring out your unique talents. Because all of my colleagues, everyone has their unique talents. I'm a lawyer, for example, and Ben Weber is a lawyer. The way that we lawyer is actually very different. I already see it already. But
Okay.
there's a uniqueness to his style and there's a uniqueness to my style.
Yep.
And I need to celebrate that, So
Absolutely. I wanted to just go back a little bit because you never know, counselor, who's watching. And Michael, bless you for that, for your speaking to the single dads. Bless single father raising 3. And so you just never know what it, for this dude to hear that you see him, you'll know what it's going to do for the rest of his day. And so thank you for that, counselor. To that point where you just answered about the group dynamics on the council, race is a big issue, counselor. I'm sure it's not foreign to you, specifically to that Murder in Boston documentary, the mayor's apology, a lot of opinions about that. Where are we as a city when it comes to race, and where and how do you see us getting to where you would like us to go?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the best answer is we are still on the journey. We are still on the journey because I think there's this popular meme that talks about which shows how long slavery was, how long Jim Crow era was, and how just recently schools were desegregated, right? When we think about it, we have people who are alive who can tell you about segregated schools, who can tell you about having to use separate public pools and public restrooms. That is still in our current and in our present. Here in the city of Boston, when we look at the wealth gap, that does not just come about.
Right.
It's the result of intentional practices by our government, by private market blockbusting and redlining in neighborhoods. Like when we look at Mattapan and Dorchester, and we look at the Black community and the Jewish communities that live there, they wanted to live together, but for private interests that preyed on people's fears and prevented that integration from happening, which is what really a thriving community looks like when we're all living and working together. And so we have healing to do still in this city. We have reconciling and we have repairing to do. We have a reparations task force. We got to get that work right. Repairing means repairing past harm through intentional policy, being intentional about city resources and how we're thinking about repairing that harm materially. And so we are still on the journey, right? When we can talk about the 50th anniversary of busing in Boston, right? We have Ted Landsmark, who is still here, who can talk to you about it, what it felt like to be jabbed with an American flag as an American,
On his way to an affirmative action meeting in the hall.
Here, in City Hall, as a young attorney. And so we are still on the journey, and there are people who do not want to be on the journey. I'm going to make that very clear. But we move forward with who we got, and we try to bring everyone together. I think there is such resistance to this idea of equity because for people who have been in this, whoever used to privilege,
Counselor,
right? Equity feels like there's something being taken away. But equity means focusing on those who've been historically excluded, who've been sidelined, who've been marginalized intentionally by governments and by society, and bringing them to the center, and doing that while not leaving anyone else behind. We can do the work of equity and bring everyone along. We can walk and chew gum. And so for those who believe, for those who believe that there's a dichotomy, reject it. For those who believe that there's a zero-sum mentality, reject it. For those who believe that a focus on people who are vulnerable and who are poor and who are Black and brown means we ignore everybody else, reject that, because that's all bull. And it's a distraction, right? Toni Morrison talks about the role of racism is really about distraction, distract us from the work. So you talk about what I need in this presidency, it's a reminder that the noise is distraction and that we need to be laser focused on the work.
I love everything you said. You if we had an organ here, we would just tune you up just a little bit. And you kind of talked about it, but the question, and I'm sure you aware, is there a lot of those dynamics, unfortunately, we see sometimes play themselves out in the media right there amongst that body of which you lead. And so to hear that is your, and I kind of like do that is your philosophy with, I don't say we have room to go. I often say we have a canyon of improvement, to proceed with that. And so it is so important. I'm going a certain way with you because some folks know the counselor, but I want folks to be able to hear some of your philosophical, approaches to equity and improvement in quality of life. Someone's here's the show talk about tuned in right in A flat.
RuthzeeForBoston.com. There's a donate button. They said it. I had to put it out there. That's my offer plate. You had to. Sorry, Jimmy. Had to. Thank you, Yasmin. I appreciate it.
All right. I think that is the longest sidebar laugh where I got distracted in almost 4 years that we've been. Counselor, that was a little lit. Okay, we're gonna have to clip that out and put that on Instagram. Ruthzee.com. Donate there.
Listen, closed mouths don't get fed. That's all. So you talk about philosophies. That is a philosophy I live by, right? You don't gotta don't ask for things if you ain't doing the work. Don't ask for things if you're not ready, but you gotta ask. The worst that somebody can tell you is no. So closed mouths don't get fed.
So in that vein, counselor, what do you want to do unique when you talk about closed mouths don't get fed? What are you trying to bring to the plate for our city? Not just managing a local body, but there is, I think even more so now, there's a lot of national attention on the city, and you probably are going to get a lot of national attention. What are you going to do different? What is the Louijeune what is the Louijeune legacy?
I feel like
I would drop it.
Yeah, I get nervous when people ask me about legacy because I think I'm still young, and legacy is hopefully I have it to God affords me the opportunity to continue building that legacy. But I think my legacy, and in order for me not to get too scared by the bigness of that question, is to just be rooted in who I am, the person that my parents raised, the person that God created, and the person who cares deeply about people. I love people. If you can't tell, I'm an extrovert like my dad. I get my energy from being in community. And so I want everybody to feel seen and appreciated and heard and loved, right? Like public service is an act of love. It is an expression of a form of a radical love, right? That God has given us to give others. And so I want people to feel that way. And not only to feel that, but to also experience that through the budget. So one of the first things I did in office is doubling the budget of the Office of Returning Citizens for our folks who are coming home from incarceration, who have been put in harm's way, oftentimes because of policy harm, neglect in our neighborhoods, making sure that grants were made available for the first time ever to nonprofits that are often run by Black and brown people, by women. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley always talks about those closest to the pain being closest to power, those who are themselves are formerly incarcerated, who are now leading the way and showing us how do we prevent people going back, reduce recidivism. That's the work. And I did that not knowing that would be possible, sort of like walking in the dark, making it happen.
The attempt is still the success. Take it.
Amen. So yeah, so that's what I want to continue doing. And some of my colleagues are really great at that, at fighting for things and like not knowing how it's going to end up, but being in the fight nonetheless. And so I'm excited to continue being on a body with people who are fighting and pushing and for everyone, especially those who are fighting and rooting for those who haven't had people rooting for them.
Okay. I want to end with a couple of things as I'm saying that folks are getting to know you. Favorite R&B artists?
Ooh, okay. Listen, Jasmine Sullivan. Yeah. Wait, but okay. Ever is Lauryn Hill. There's no taking away from Lauryn Hill. But in this moment, and if you look at
this moment,
yeah,
Jasmine.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hear a little bit of Jasmine this evening.
Ooh, I'm gonna make sure DJ Real P, who's gonna be on the ones.
Yes.
I'm gonna get him to do some Jasmine Sullivan. Good call.
Okay.
Good call.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
But sometimes she's a little slow, but I'm sure he has like some.
He got a couple of, he can. Oh, Real P gets it in. He definitely gets it in.
Yes.
Your favorite guilty pleasure when it comes to food?
Ooh, I'm a chocolate chip cookie girl. Like that's just
soft or crunchy.
I think I'm more of a soft, like an in between.
Okay.
Soft, but the real question is brown butter with salt on top. That's the perfect chocolate chip cookie.
So you got a little snickerdoodle-ish tendencies in your chocolate. I made cookies the other day, and when I took them out the oven, I took a little bit of sugar and some cinnamon, put them on top. So we got Jasmine Sullivan, souped up cookies. Okay. last question. I'm trying to think of a good one here. Do you cook? Because we shared an interesting tweet the other day, and I didn't make it down there.
You did not make it down there. I did deliver. I only did 2 deliveries though. 2 deliveries of soup the next day.
No, but I got invited to come.
You did. I told you. Yes,
I
yes.
I was like, what's going on New Year's Day at noon?
Yeah. So exactly. That was a whole thing. It was a whole inauguration, Jimmy. A whole presidency thing. Can I cook? Yes.
Okay.
Do I cook? No. What I love is I usually see my parents every day or every other day. And it was beautiful. At the end of last week, one day, I just went home. I was on my way home. I was like, come over. I'm going to fry you some plantains. I'm going to make some chicken. Like, have some collard greens ready for me. And it was just like, I just feel I feel so lucky that I have a mom who will be like, yo, just come on over. I got you. Make your favorite foods. Your dad will be there to help with any other things you gotta take care of. My dad often thinks he's a city councilor, so I feel very lucky. So shout out to my parents who, even though I don't have as much time to cook as I want, my mom is always holds it down. So,
Counselor, I wanted to just sidebar a little bit just to get folks to know, a little bit, let the hair downside a little bit. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and chat with us this morning. We are in communication with the team of looking at maybe some regular frequency where you can come and check in with us and chat. Please keep us abreast of things that's going on. I believe in inside outside game. And so when I know advocacy. So if you need to advocate and tap back into that activist, you let us know. And I really appreciate you. You all please put love and support and praying hands because this woman preached a little bit up in here today. But we really appreciate you. And thank you so much for what you're doing. And stay true, Counselor, because you're in that role in a very, very interesting time in this city. We are these next couple of years, I think these next couple of years are going to change and really inform the trajectory of where we're going in equity in this city. And so stay strong, my sister, in the fight and in the faith. And we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thanks, everyone. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thanks, hon.
Okay, bye.
Folks, that was our city council president. You could tell something came in right at the end there because she's always very present. She was like, bye. But I wanted to go back to a couple of things that was said earlier. Michael said that the shade of the trees we plant will not be for us to enjoy. I love that. The legacy piece. Heidi said, yeah, girl. My girl love chocolate chip cookies. And Real is in here messing, talking about Anthony said she gives a Lauryn Hill vibe. Jasmine, she got to drop some new. Absolutely. Pam said that Legacy is planting a seed in the garden, that her and Pam and Michael are saying the exact same thing. I'm trying to find that comment. Oh, this is the one. This came up while the counselor was talking, and I was sitting here trying to keep myself together, and I did well. Let's play a game. Drink every time Jimmy says counselor in the last 7 days. Whatever, brother. This is a civic engagement week. We're trying to keep folks as informed, but appreciate you, man. Anissa, good to see you in the building, hun, as always. Michael, welcome. I don't think I've seen your name a lot before, so good to see you in the room. Brother Opal, again, thank you for all the support. Miss Teresa said you missed it. Jimmy was going to say something smart about me and God blocked it. I know she said stop, but church folks, we'd be like, God blocked it. All right. Aaron said India Ari is always slept on. She is the same category as Lauren and Jay Hud to me. All right, we about to have that conversation. Listen, it's 10 o'clock. I'm getting ready to get off of here. Leslie, please go back and check out the Afterwatch. Lenny sang at the State of the City yesterday and killed it. So go check that out. It's on Facebook. Tomorrow is Thursday, January 11th, and in the Java Cafe at 9 a.m., we have newly elected City Councilor Henry Santana is going to speak with us. And as we are getting ready to go into MLK weekend, Brother Amari Parrish Jeffries will be with us at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow to talk about what's going on since the release since the release of the Embrace Monument, January 13th. It's been a year. Ask me how I remember that day. Nervous as crap with the choir. So Amari is coming in at 9:30 tomorrow to update us on what's going on with the Embrace Institute, Embrace Boston. I don't know, Embrace Institute. I like that. That's it for me this morning, folks. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I don't remember any other major announcements, so I think that we are good. It is 10:04. Miss Teresa, I'm not messing with y'all. Talk about I'll make the buttons. UCB, y'all get 90 minutes. Eric is going to get hip to y'all. I'm gonna leave that right there. Y'all and all y'all point system getting y'all gift cards. Y'all need to take some of them gift cards and put together a little mother's board meetup. All right, I'm getting off of here. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Today is We Need to Know Wednesday, and we got to learn a lot. Counselor, I really want to sit up here and give you Sherry. Yo, Sherry be spicy, yo. You try to change the sketch. Oh, Sharon, thank you. Next week, everybody, 10 a.m. Java with Jimmy for 1 week for next week, 10 a.m., not 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 10 a.m., 10 a.m. Next week, 10 a.m., all right? The week after that, 12 noon. 12 noon on the week of the 22nd. The week of the 15th, 10 a.m. The week of the 22nd, 12 noon. We did an informal survey the middle or latter part of last fall, and the two number one slots that people said is better for them since folks went back to work and things like that is 10 a.m. or 12 noon. And so we're experimenting. We are looking at where we have the greatest impact as far as live viewership, being very honest and transparent about you all, to you all. And so, reminder, I talk about that because Sharon Cornelius will always let you know what she ain't gonna do. I've been doing this for 2 years, anything after 10 a.m. Gotta love Mother Sharon. Next week, 10 a.m. On the 15th, 10 a.m. 16th, 10 a.m. 17th, 10 a.m. 18th, 10 a.m. On the 22nd, 12 noon. 23rd, 12 noon. 24th, 12 noon. 25th, 12 noon. We are going to take 2 weeks and see what happens with the numbers. And very soon we will let you all know what and if there is a new time for Java with Jimmy, if there will be less frequency out of the 4 days, or if we will maybe expand and possibly add some other personalities to the Java with Jimmy morning show. We've been a morning show since March 24th of 2020. One of the first and early to be launched in this area that year. Everybody have a wonderful day. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thinking about maybe here and there a couple of personalities to come in and do that. Yes, Miss Teresa, I'm glad you're back. And here go Mama Java. Y'all and y'all points. Teresa said, Miss Sherry said, I got receipts. Eric knew 2 years ago. I let him know you were absolutely. I'm just messing with y'all because at 10:01, y'all be talking 90 minutes. All right, I'm getting off of here before I get in trouble. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. with Counselor Santana and then also Amari Parrish Jeffries at 9:30 a.m. Have a great day, everybody, and we shall talk to you soon. Peace.